Welcome to our first Aquarian Salon of the second cycle. It is the fifth Aquarian Salon. We started 1 year ago, and this is again about art, astrology, and wisdom teachings.
So we start a new cycle. The last June, it lasted for 1 year, was the fixed cross. So I thought this one has a new motto. I call it the river. We start with the spring today.
The prayer for group coherence. Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahe, Tejasvinavati Tamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we be protected together. May we share and enjoy together. May we work efficiently together. Let there be no hindrances to our enlightenment. Let no malice prevail. Let peace be in all the three planes.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. We're happy to be with all those of you who were with us before, and for the new ones, we welcome you to our Aquarian Salon. I'm looking outside and it's getting darker and darker. I'm in the middle of the United States and it's very windy here. And yesterday we had an extreme storm. So if for some reason I go off, and I'll have Lauren take over. So, well, hello, everyone. I want to ask you to think about something. After our formal salon, I'm going to ask if there's anyone who wants to contribute any of their gifts, music, piano, singing, a song, guitar, flute. And so that's how we will continue the salon after I speak and we show Ludger's beautiful paintings. So the theme this year is 3 festivals: Goodwill, the Sound of the Divine Word, and keynotes. The Sound of the Divine Word. Every single one of the constellations and signs has a keynote. I'm going to say 3 of those keynotes. The sounds of the divine words: Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And as we show the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini and Scorpio paintings, what we are also doing in this salon is calling humanity to join us, calling humanity to join us. And so when the sun enters Aries, we begin a new spiritual year. Aries, Taurus, and Gemini form a triangle of 3 festivals: the festival of love, the festival of will, and the festival of goodwill. And each one of these again calls humanity. And when the sun enters Aries, it's the beginning of a new spiritual year. And it's also the day in which we honor the science and the art of astrology. So let us look at the chart for today. We've had quite a month. We began the new spiritual year in Aries. And if we look at this chart now, we see quite a few lights in Aries. We have North Node, and we have Mercury, and we have Chiron, and we have Venus in Aries. Aries calls humanity to recognize its true identity. And then Mercury retrograded in Aries. We had an eclipse in Aries. Aries again calls humanity and asks, who are you? What are you doing? And what is your purpose? These are important questions as we enter Aquarius. And Aquarius's hidden sign is Leo. And Aquarius says, before I can continue, I have to ask all of you in Leo, what are your creative gifts? Humanity is being called to bring forth its creative gifts and to know its self-identity. That's the purpose of the North Node in Aries and the purpose of Leo. So I'm going to ask everyone from now till our next salon, what are your creative gifts? What are your creative gifts? Because the new culture and civilization is created by everyone offering their creative gifts. So Aries is a sign that initiates new realities. With so much movement in Aries, especially with the solar eclipse, with the emphasis on the new Aquarian age unfolding, again, humanity is being called to bring forth its creative gifts. And creativity isn't just someone who paints a picture. Every single thing that we do is a creative gift. What we love, what we are attracted to, what we hope for, these are our creative gifts. So the Aries festival, we're in spring now, and the Aries festival brought forth the forces of restoration. They streamed into the earth to restore humanity's psychological health. And if any of us watches the news these days, Humanity truly needs help with its psychological health. Every day in our meditations, we pray for the young ones, that their psychological health be restored. And so during Aries, it is the time of resurrection, and the symbol of the Christ, it comes forth. And the door, there is a door, it's a Rorik painting. The next slide. This door is a painting by Nicholas Rorik. And this door is like the opening of the new year. And at the Aries festival, as I said, the forces of restoration come in. When the Christ was on the planet 2,000 years ago, his greatest gift was that he opened the door to the evolutionary arc, which was the path of return to heaven. Before the Christ was with us 2,000 years ago, we could not return to the Father. And so this beautiful painting of Rorik's welcoming humanity back to heaven. And when we have the sign of Aries prominent, Mercury, the messenger, comes back and says, I am coming forth, and from the plane of mind I rule. I come forth, and from the plane of mind I rule. We've had Mercury retrograde the past 3 weeks, and Mercury just ended its retrograde in Aries. Again, Mercury says, to humanity, North Node, what are your creative gifts? What is your purpose? Who are you? And when we have retrogrades, we go deep within ourselves and we assess, who are we? And so Mercury ended its retrograde, but it is still in its retrograde shadow till mid-May. So as we follow the pathway of the sun in our new year, as the sun rises, the kingdom of earth rises. As the sun descends, we too descend. And it's always from light to dark and dark to light. And so our second sign of spring is Taurus. This is the festival of the Buddha. And for many, it is called the Vaisakh festival. And the Buddha brings forth the will and the love of the Father and distributes it to humanity. The Christ and all of the masters and disciples and initiates travel to the Vaisakh Valley at the full moon time. And there is a sacred dance and a recitation of sounds and chants. And the Buddha brings forth for humanity a new sense of livingness, a new willingness, a new love. And illumination flows down into the earth from the Buddha and from the Lord of the world. And then there's a communion ceremony. And this anchors the very first strands of Aquarius. The communion ceremony at Vaisakh is the waters of life for thirsty humanity. And then the third festival is that of Gemini. This is the festival of Goodwill. Look at the triangles in this beautiful painting of Ludger. The festival of Goodwill. The festival of Goodwill brings about a coherence of everything that separates. The festival of humanity. And Christ stands at the center. He stands in for humanity. And this is the festival of Gemini, which is the festival of intelligent love and loving intelligence. Gemini is the festival of right choice, calling humanity to always have right choice. And everyone says, how do we have right choice? And the wisdom teachings tell us we make right choice when we align with the will to good. We make right choice when we align with the will to good. The will to good creates goodwill. Goodwill creates right relations. And right relations creates the peace and the beauty and harmony humanity seeks. That's an important scientific and esoteric equation. The will to good creates goodwill, creates right relations, and creates the peace and the beauty humanity seeks. The Gemini festival is also the festival of the Great Invocation. So we had the Christ coming forth in the Piscean age, and he taught the law of love, but humanity didn't understand it. So the Lord of the world asked the Christ, will you come back and be the teacher for the Aquarian age? Each age is 2,500 years long. And it took the Christ a long time to decide. It took him 9 years to decide, can I and will I come back and be the Aquarian teacher? At the Gemini Full Moon Festival in 1949, the Gemini Festival, the Christ told the Lord of the world and his disciples, yes, I will come back and be the Aquarian world teacher. And so on Thursdays, we do our mantrams of preparation for the Aquarian world teacher's reappearance. And there will be deliberations and conclaves next year with the hierarchy to see, is humanity ready? And how do we prepare for the reappearance of the Christ? And so our next, what is our next slide? Saraswati, the sound of the divine word. The sound of the divine word. This is Mercury in communication. This is right communication. Disciples always choose to use words of harmony, of goodness, of words that bring forth goodwill in the world. In the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And from the sounds and the words of God, the world was created. Disciples say words and recite the keynotes of the 3 spring festivals at the beginning of each new year. These are important keynotes. They contain ideals that need to be given to humanity so that humanity can understand how to create the new era. These keynotes, given under every sign, forms the background for the rest of the year. In Aries, we hear these words, I come forth and from the plane of mind I rule. This is Mercury speaking, the messenger. For Taurus, I see, and when the eye is opened, all is light. This is Vulcan, and this is our Ajna center, our diamond light center. Vulcan forges the personality into a golden chalice. And when we are able to emit a light from our Ajna center, everything that light touches is uplifted and transmuted. And in Gemini, we hear these words of the soul. I, the soul, recognize my other self, my personality self. And when that personality self, when its light begins to wane, I, the light of the soul, grow and glow in light. Gemini, the 2 brothers protecting the halls of masonry. And then we have Scorpio, which is the opposite of Taurus. Warriors are we, and from the battles we emerge triumphant. These are sacred words. These are sacred words. I'm going to now recite a sacred mantra. This is the prayer of goodwill in action. May we express goodwill in action. May we unfold the power to manifest. May we enter the world for the Lord, and may we stay united in all ways. And so, let us begin to approach Ludger's beautiful, potent, illuminating paintings. The images originate from an idea. The ideas lead to different stages of creative expression, and the original is the idea. The original is the idea. This original cannot be sold or bought. It's like I come forth and from the plane of mind I rule. And so Ludger has a treasure trove of creative, colorful, symbolic, potent paintings. Let us begin to look at his paintings. And what do we do when we look at them? We gaze at them. We look for symbols. we notice what is in this painting that touches me, and do the symbols mean anything to us, and what does the painting say to us, and what do I sense or feel when I look at these paintings? Is anything stirred within me, and do I have any questions? What do I think the artist is trying to say? And then we share all those thoughts and ideas, and from our sharing we can have the discussion. So let's begin to look at Ludger's paintings. This first is Aries, the three great fires and the serpent of eternity. Thank you, Frank. So Ludger, would you like to begin to share with us about these beautiful paintings?
Mhm. In the middle, you see a point, a white point, and with a point starts the Big Bang of manifestation. When a point is there, then there is also a circumference, and this circle is the beginning of manifestation. And here you see that out from this first circle comes the next circle, and different circles, but they have all the same center. In us, we have the center as I am. In the creation, you can also say it is this cosmic I am which brings forth the manifestation. But I've shown that it is not just one, it is three coming out, the three great energies of the first, second, and third logos, three fires are also called the fire as will, love and wisdom, and intelligent activity. And they are also called the cosmic or electric fire, the solar fire, and the fire by friction, the invisible fire in matter. And these three fires are associated with the three fire signs of the zodiac. Aries represents the electric fire. Leo represents the transforming fire. And Sagittarius is the fire by friction. Even though we describe them as three qualities, the three fires are only one fire, which in the East is called Agni. And from this source comes out the stardust from which the creation is being formed. And it is called in the East the great serpent Ananta, or endless. And it is the cosmic Kundalini, or the serpent of eternity. Here it has a beginning. With the creation it begins, and the beginning is also an end. So you see that the serpent is having the end, its tail, in its mouth, showing that the beginning and end meet, but with time coming out, time and space coming out, there's always a beginning and an ending, but it is only a seeming beginning and an ending. And so this you see in the form of the great circle, a great serpent, And the serpent is surrounding also like a circle, again, the inner spheres, and you see the creative fire, the flames of manifestation in red light, the fire of Agni coming out there. And this process is symbolically presented here in the painting. And from the unity in the center come out the 3 points, these 3 logoi or 3 fires. Then they pervade the space in which this serpent of eternity becomes visible, and then surrounded by stardust, from which suns and galaxies are formed. For the design of the stardust, I transformed a NASA or Hubble photo of a ring galaxy, and this serpent of eternity and the fire at the background, they were generated with elements from different pictures. So you see the galaxies, you see the stardust, and all coming out from the center, the process of manifestation.
I'm going to respond to some of what you said. I love what you said, where the fires created the stardust. How beautiful, Luger. And with that point at the center, Aries, I know Aries is said also, it is the light of life itself. From this comes everything. And it is a dim point of light found at the new beginning cycle of manifestation. And that dim point of light is saying who can be used, what can be used for divine expression. And so we say to the great ones, let us be used for divine expression. Help us to create that which is new for humanity. And I see the fires, which reminds me of the fires of Aries. And the Ouroboros, which is that snake eating its own tail, the Alpha and the Omega. Who else would like to share or say anything about what they see in this painting? Alexis, did you want to say something? What do others see in this painting, or does anybody want to say anything about this painting? You can even give praise to Ludger about the paintings, like, Ludger, these are beautiful, this is beautiful.
Andre, would you like to share?
Yes. The 3 points in the middle and the sun, the point in the middle, is this the same energy that to us come when we start morning meditation and get the energies from the nature to our body?
Yes, you can always see the oneness in the Trinity, or the Trinity in the oneness. It is also a way which is in the East called Lotatatreya, the 3 heads coming out of one body. And it is the same symbolism, just in a different kind of presentation.
Caroline is sharing in the chat, the central point is so riveting, demands our attention and devotion.
What can be used for divine expression? Yes.
Rebecca, you can.
This is beautiful, Ludger. Thank you so much for sharing this amazing painting with us. I am fixed staring at this, and I'm feeling a sense of motion with it. I feel the stationary central sun. I see also a monad, but I feel the 3 fires spinning counterclockwise, and I experience the snake eating its tail, the kundalini, and spinning to the right. So it almost feels like atomic to me. I really appreciate the complexity of the image, and I love the stardust around the outside edge.
Thank you, Rebecca.
It's very balanced, isn't it? It's beautifully balanced.
Exactly. I was going to point out that though it has all that fire and all that strength and all this, it's so powerful, and yet it's completely balanced. I don't know if it's the depth or the stardust or I mean, it's absolutely balanced. It's beautiful, Ludger. Thank you so much.
It is all around the central point. These are just circles which are different dimensions or different scales of expansion. So you see it emerging or merging, as what Rebecca said, also the directions of circulation. It circulates all around the central point.
And about stardust, isn't it said that we are stardust? We are made of stardust.
Mm-hmm.
Andre?
Yeah, the point in the middle, the white point, it looks like it brings out one color and brings a lot of colors out of them to us. So like our intentions, will and doing our magic or all the rays from one ray to our minds.
Yes, yes. You see the red of the first ray, you see the blue of the second ray, and you see then the yellow of the third ray as the main colors in it.
We have different colors for the rays based on different levels and different dimensions.
Yes. It is also green. Third ray is also green, and you can see various shades. It is the same reality, just seen from a different angle.
Shall we go to the next painting now? This is Taurus at the Vaisakh festival. And there's a teacher down there who we all recognize. There's a teacher that most of us recognize.
Indeed.
Frank?
Yes,
Will you give your input?
I recognize him.
Some of us do recognize. Beautiful as always, Frank. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you like to talk about this?
Yes, there's something to explain as the background of this painting. It was done in April 2010, and I had a pause of any creative visual activity for 19 years until end of November 2009, when I started again painting. And I didn't plan to do an astrological cycle. I just had done Aries painting in the beginning, in the month of Aries. And then I did this painting, and I sent it to Sri Kumar, just as a thank you, without any afterthought. And what you see here. And I was still searching to use the new form, which I just had developed, digital and physical, to bringing them together and developing this way the paintings. And when I came and met him at a seminar in the Pyrenees, the Maycold Seminar 2010, he welcomed me and gave me the booklet of the journal, the Vaisakh newsletter in India, and he had put this on the cover painting, and I was very much astonished. when I saw this, and other people saw this wood as well, and they asked me then, can you do a painting every month? I said, I have no plans as per this, and they wanted to have this for this magazine. I said, I need to ask. I do not decide myself. And then he said, yes, you can do. And so I started doing a painting every month through the zodiac. And so it's now the 15th cycle of paintings since 2010 when I started. Coming to this painting, in the middle, you see the glyph of Taurus. And in the center, we see a little statue of Buddha. As we have heard from Risa, Buddha brings in the energies coming from higher circles through Taurus, manifesting them on Earth. And it says that they are received from a constellation which in us corresponds here in the between the eyebrows. It is Aldebaran in the cosmos, or in the East it is called Rohini, and this Rohini is associated with the R, and it is a syllable of fire. So here in the center of the glyph, I placed a photo, but then I painted on this photo of Aldebaran. And so this energy of Taurus comes via Aldebaran down. And then it radiates out. And on the left side, you see Venus, the ruler of Taurus. And on the other side, you see the full moon of Taurus. And this Vaisakh full moon, when the moon stands at this time in a constellation, the opposite sign of, it's called Vaisakh, and therefore it is called Vaisakh or Vaisakh festival in the East. And here I created this valley with a photo I'd done of a valley in the Alps with a big mountain in between. But then in this valley, I placed like a cave around the principle of the master, which was expressed for me to Master Kuma, and then a big group in the physical below. And you see many people there. I used a photo which once was taken on a mount in Switzerland when we had a big group meeting there, Mount Rigi. But I added shapes of beings around of this subtle plane, which are assembled together with the physical people visible there. So you see here these the physical, then the subtle plane, and then you come to the higher plane of the Buddha, which is also linked to the Buddhic plane in a higher way, and then coming down from cosmic spheres, and you see a flow of light down from the Buddha, from Rohini, finally via Buddha, into our system, and then down to the people assembled here together with the hierarchy in the Vaisakh Valley. And this there is one little hint which is not directly visible: the moon. The moon can reflect different energies into it, into our system. Moon is also conveying the energies of a hidden planet we call Vulcan. It is the planet of the will. And so on the one side, the exoteric or the other ruler of Taurus is Venus. On the subtle planes, on this plane of the soul and on this plane of the spirit, there's the energy of first ray of Vulcan coming through. And So it is also symbolically expressed as the bull, which is the vehicle of Lord Shiva. Gauri or Nandi, are his names in the East. So you see this valley as the vehicle of reception of the impulse coming down, which comes from the higher circles, which released on this earth in Aries through Sanat Kumara, and now received and shared here with the hierarchy in this assembly at the Vaisakh festival.
And if we look at the painting, we can see on the left, there's Venus, the glyph of Venus, which is the personality building ruler of Taurus. Looks like all the 7 rays are pouring out around the Buddha.
Yes. And the violet flame at the bottom. For manifestation.
Would others like to share about what they see or have any questions?
Liliane has a question through chat. It says, Risa, Vulcan is always found within 7 to 8 degrees from natal sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's also in between. Often they say it's in between Mercury and the sun. And some people have seen Vulcan. Some people have seen it. It's quite hidden. They say in the future that Vulcan will appear. Vulcan, as I said, his name is Hephaestus. He is the husband of Venus. And the most beautiful thing is he's the forger. And he takes our personalities, places them in the fire, and then he creates out of that fire of our personality, he creates our personality into the chalice of the soul. And that actually is a beautiful symbol. The golden chalice, you see the gold of Taurus in the painting.
I do have a question about Vulcan. It is normally associated with moon, but I guess we don't have its energy equally in all the full moons. This is a particular one.
It is related to Taurus energy, and the moon is the reflector, and it's a mirror, like a mirror, and it is specially linked to Taurus. Taurus has this quality on the higher planes.
Okay, thank you.
The soul and spiritual rulers of Taurus.
Yes.
Forges the will. It forges the will.
Isn't it that when I remember in the work of Hercules, that Hephaestus, so means Vulcan, is also what was it? He's a farrier, and he in the fire of the volcan, in the fire, he's making the weapons and the helmet and the shield and the hornets and everything for the gods. So he is
for the warriors. He makes
Yeah.
the tools for the warriors.
Yes, and he's also making the helmet of Athena, and so he is what he is doing. What he's doing is very, very important, and not so. How can I say this? It is not very well known between astrologers what the real work of Vulcan is.
Here is a quote. Such is the test of Vulcan, ruling Taurus of the soul, ruling desire of the Son of God. He fashions his instruments of expression in the depths, and he grasps the divine purpose, and so bending the will of the little self to that of the greater self. He fashions our will, Ray One. And it's like the Christ, not my will, but thy will.
Beautiful. Thank you.
It's the ray one of will and power.
Mhm.
He helps us move from the mutable to the fixed cross, from the personality to the soul. Would anyone else like to share or add or question anything about this painting? I see Master Kumar smiling. He's happy to see his photo, his picture there in the painting of Ludger's.
Andre?
The Vaisakh festival, this is the pictures, is this all physical bodies, or is this is called if everyone meditates on this at this time at this festival, they can not physical stay there, but the ghost or the souls are with them if they invited or gets the energy to get there to from the masters to can see on the point, but not physical. But I
Yes.
can't explain directly.
Yes, yes. There's a second painting on Vaisakh Festival, which I have done, which comes later tonight, and I will come on some of the points also there. And it is on a physical plane, but it is also in the subtle plane where you can link to. And it is linked from the brow center, between the eyebrows. You can visualize that you are projecting out. Or when you are awakened to the Agnya center, you can project out to this valley and go there with your subtle body. But we should not, of course, we can work with our imagination, but it needs a great purity and a certain development before we can just go there and to participate this way with this sublime meeting. It is a festival where masters gather and their close disciples. But we can imagine that we also participate. It's a good help.
I would like to share my impressions. I see a violet cave around Kumar. He's all in white, but there's a violet hue around him, so it expresses in a way the connection to the seventh ray. And I want to point out that this moon is standing in Scorpio while this Vaisakh festival happens. And Master Kumar was born in Scorpio. And also one more impression, those figures that stand tall to the right and left of him, they remind me very much of those statues that stand on the Easter Islands in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
You have good eyes, Frank. That lavender, deep purple color around Master Kumar.
Mhm.
Shall we go to the next slide, Lauren? This is one of my favorite paintings of Ludger's. It's Gemini. This is the masonry, the two pillars of the temple. It's so beautiful. It's Gemini. The two brothers, see one light waxing, one light waning.
title of the image is Gemini, the two pillars of the temple. And these pillars open the space, and Gemini is the threshold between the inner and the outer worlds. And we understand the world of objects, the outer world, as three-dimensional, and movement is considered as the fourth dimension. And we experience normally a picture or a photo as two-dimensional, even if we travel with our eyes into the worlds of the image. And depending on a rendering of an image, we may see perspectives that appear spatial, or we may even see sensory illusions in a picture. In either case, we experience the world perceived through our senses as something external. We see an image. However, we often find that we are immersed in something, especially in moving images, movies, games, or virtual reality. We do not feel that we have left the external physical world and are in the internal world of imagination. Reflection or contemplation allows us to see the structures of the subtle, and it leads us to deeper realms. Intense, prolonged contemplation finally brings us to the experience of the dimension that lies beyond the constructs of the mind. Here in the image, you see these two pillars. I constructed this with photos I did from the facade of the Bavarian State Chancellery in Munich. And I extracted there a detail and used it to create the archway of two pillars connected by a crossbeam. It is a symbol used in Masonic temples, and it says that it is a representation also of the human being. And the upper is the higher plane, the Buddhic plane also, where the wisdom is engraved. And the temple, the pillars there open a space into something in between. And on the top, you see the sun and the moon, the world of light and of the reflection of light. It is not that here the light is reflected on the moon. It comes from another side depicted there. I did not want to represent it as physical dimension. It is the inner reflection, the lunar part here and the solar part. And there is an archway also opening above this connecting sphere to a greater dimension behind the zodiac. We see the Gemini at the top, and then when you go down at the bottom, we see the opposite sign, also Sagittarius, in the middle. And they come and go when we go through the year, through the different signs of the zodiac. And the mountain between the pillars, it is a photo from Mount Shasta in California. It directs our view up to the greater background, the stars in the background. And these stars are reflected on Earth. The energy comes down to Earth. And you see it here reflected in the snow on the mountain. There you see many reflections of stars. So the cosmic energy is also a reflection not only the moon, but in the snow. It is also coming down to Earth and impregnating the Earth. And it is, the zodiac is like one dimension, then comes this portal, And then comes a small portal. And everywhere you can go through, there's a circle above the circle of the zodiac where you can go beyond through the center of this annual circle. We come there with another picture and look at the center of this circle. It is like with the Aries painting, there should be a point in the middle of a circle. But we do not see, but we can imagine that we go into the cosmic dimension, and here then we go to a planetary dimension with the mount and the reflection from the cosmos, and then we come to a small temple between the bigger pillars. And there you see you can see it as the personality or the person going into the inner sphere. There you see above the doorway the glyph of Mercury. Mercury is representing our discrimination, the power of discrimination. And you have to discriminate between what is right, what is wrong. In the mental plane, something which is black and something which is white never coincide. But when you look at this image, where do they meet? You know by your mental understanding, black will be always black and white will be always white. But here you lose this when you go to beyond. And there both merge into oneness, and this oneness I've depicted is blue there in the background. It is neither black nor white, but it is the background of both. And so the checkerboard pattern is of our intellect is overcome when we go beyond. And so also when we go through the pillars into the inner sphere, and then to the inner temple, and then to the innermost, we go beyond our mental concepts. We stay outside the temple as long as we are in our concepts of what is left, what is right, what is black, what is white, and all these dualities we have to overcome to go into the inner. You see between the pillars and around this inner temple a wall. You cannot go outside. The wall is blocking you. And you can go through the pillars of the outer temple and then to the innermost, which is our heart. And when we go through the understanding, which we call the higher understanding of the Buddhic plane, there are no more these limitations of our mental concepts. You experience the background or the light behind.
I really like the little reflections in Mount Shasta, those little white lights. I also know that in Masonry, that floor, black and white, it shows that there is duality on the earth. One must learn to look beyond the duality, discern and discriminate the difference. Who else would like to share or add or ask questions about this beautiful painting?
Andre, go ahead.
Okay. This looks like on the two pillars, this sun and moon. This looks like for me from the sun-moon cycle that brings out the message every month to the people to work out their ourselves, their personalities, who comes from full moon to full shining, and then to work on them to next new moon. This looks like perfect. You can work out. You see the doorway in Mount Shasta down there. That's the material ores we can work out, and upstairs we can work out our personality. So we can bring higher dimensions to humanity for the next circles. So that's what I see in this picture.
Thank you.
Laura?
Hi everybody. Ludgeria, I love this painting too. I love the colors and the depths, the layers, the different layers. And as you were speaking, I was thinking of what I wanted to say, and you were saying it in relation to the squares, the Masonic floor eventually blending and becoming one color in the background. And also I think of the temple, the Masonic temple with Mercury over the door, and that we know the tagline over the temple door is also know thyself, and Mercury reflects for me the planet that is connected to building the Antikarana, and to know ourselves is to know that we are the soul, we are not the personality. I was looking at the wall behind and thinking of, you know, the masons' skills in the mundane world. A mason, which my dad was, built walls. And that we can't go through the wall. And when we come to a challenge in our life, when it's like coming to the wall, that we can't go through it, but we can rise above it when we learn to understand that we are a soul and learn the techniques of building the Antikarana and connecting with the soul, that we can rise up from that wall. That's what came to me.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Nice.
I would like to share between the columns that this is a beautiful painting and so deep. I remember what Master always said, that try to look between objects, not really at the objects, and also encourages us to do the ritual that the ancient temples used to do on Fridays of looking between two candles, just to practice this looking between objects. And here in this painting, I see how between the two columns in this threshold, you can see the non-duality of the floor, the Masonic floor, and also Mount Shasta, which represents one of the centers of divine energy. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Laura, I didn't know about looking in between. I didn't know about looking in between two candles. I mean, Rosa, I didn't know about looking in between and looking in between two candles.
I think it was actually in a Mount Shasta seminar that Master Kumar introduced us to this practice, and of especially on Friday evenings, just set candles near to each other, but leave a little space and try to just look between the space of two candles. And sometimes, you know, you will see how the two lights kind of sort of come together. And he also encourages us to, when we look around, don't focus on the objects so much, but in the space between the objects, which I think is pretty profound. Maybe a way to move out of the, you know, the mundane world objects into the what's behind, you know, more the deeper side.
I will remember that from now on. I don't remember that from the seminar, but I will remember now.
One of the examples he was giving, thank you for reminding us that, is that when you see two mountains, one beside the other, there's actually a third mountain in the space, which is upside down.
Yes.
I found this, I have been listening to this ritual. For the first time, I have found he mentioned it in 2017 in incoming of the seventh ray. And when you go to 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 the list, to the archives list, then you find it in 2017 Bielefeld seminar at Bielefeld, Germany, Risa.
Oh,
It's
wow.
and it's 30th of June 2017. It's in this on this day he's talking explicitly how the Earth was born through Venus, and because Venus, the Friday is the Venus day, so we get a very close connection to the Venus energies. And then, to get closer to these energies of Venus that bring this ability for telepathy, he told us, to going beyond their normal awareness. You could start doing this exercise. That was the one thing I would like to
Thank you.
contribute. And the other thing is, this floor thing, in the smaller temple, you all say mentionary, but for me it is like, like the 17th, 18th century Dutch art. They painted, this kind of floors. It was the huge spaces of either of churches or just very, very uplifting spaces, and they used this kind of floors. And that was my first connection. I mean, how do you connect this? I mean, I've been to Roslin Chapel. There is no squares like this.
It was in the Renaissance. Yes, it was in the Renaissance that this dimension was discovered. It has to do with the individuality and the individual viewpoint, also from Leonardo da Vinci, who used dimension in the paintings. Before, it was not painted like this, and suddenly they used I do not know the English word, Fluchtpunkt, the point to which the lines converge. And suddenly came this depth into the paintings, a different kind of representation. And it was together with the awakening of individuality, stronger to the Age of Enlightenment later, but it started in the Renaissance art.
Okay.
Renaissance in English, yes.
Rebecca, Dai?
Yes, beautiful painting, Ludger, and so many things to think about in viewing this painting. One thing that came up for me was the triangles that occur during the Gemini festival, the integration of opposite signs such as Gemini and Sagittarius, or Aries and Libra, and how Mercury became the third point of the triangle. And I see that third point integration going through that doorway as these signs become integrated, and goodwill can emerge more readily for humanity. Very beautiful.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. You brought me to another aspect of this symbol. There's the square and the triangle above the square. The square stands for the lower planes, the physical, etheric, emotional, and mental plane of the personality also, and the triangle represents Atma, Buddhi, Manas, the higher planes. So it is also the constitution of the 7 planes of our creation here.
Anna?
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say, actually, similar to.
Oh, did we lose Anna? Sometimes Anna is on her phone and it gets lost.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that these pillars are the pillars in front of Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple.
Yes.
So much to learn in here.
I have the impression that the zodiac circle is already moving, so it looks very dynamic. So so it looks like it's moving from the right side to the sun side, and below it's moving back to the moon. It's really circling.
So I would like to share something very special. It takes me back in time. I was there in 2019 when Kumar held his lecture there. And I know that our brother Meinrad was climbing up this mountain and dashing down the snow with his skiers. I see him there, reminding me that time is not there. Time is nil. I don't know.
Yes.
I see Meinrad. Happy greetings from Meinrad there.
Yes. He was already 84 at that time. He marched alone through the snow up in the night and dashed down next morning. Yeah.
I think that we should maybe move on now. We have 4 more images.
Yes.
Will you go to our next image, even though we are sad to leave this beautiful one? And Anna says, Anna said this painting also points to the festival of humanity when Gemini integrates the opposites, as Rebecca said, and the energy of Venus also integrates them. So working on what Rebecca said. And beautiful picture and presentation, says Rebecca. And she says, thank you for all your efforts in creating this for us to enjoy and find inspiration through. So let us go to our next one. This is
There's a question. We have already 10 minutes left. We might go to the last image and leave the other cycle out. It will go much beyond our time when we go through the 3 more paintings, the regular paintings, but take the Scorpio painting to close it with the opposite sign now.
another extraordinary and beautiful painting. Scorpio, the Ascent of the Winged Serpent.
Here you see again the same zodiac. I got a picture of this watch, the clock, a church clock, which was photographed from bottom up, and perspectively it was not round, it was just a view up. And I digitally restored it to a circle and then worked out the different elements there. And here you see Scorpio at the bottom, and hidden behind in the top, you see Taurus again. And so the symbol of Scorpio, the Scorpio is at the bottom, and you cannot see behind the crystal at the top. It is then the Taurus. And in between, you see a dull spiral going up, and the central line, it has to do with our inner energies. There are energies ascending and descending, and rising energies which we call sushumna, and the energy which goes down into materialization is called ida, and the other for ascent it's called pingala. It is not a precise depiction. I used for this a double spiral from a spiralic plant in a leaf which I put together. So Scorpio represents the fall of spirit into matter and the reversal of the process through ascent of consciousness from out of the bondage of matter. The movement of energy is described as a serpent creeping on the ground or rising as a brilliant light inside the spinal column. And beyond the brow center, the energy bifurcates into two arcs like a winged serpent. And further, it ascends like an eagle. We have it here in our brows. The two brows form this area in our face like the wings of the eagle when we lift up towards the Agnya center. You see on the top of the serpent a jewel. You can take it as the brow center, and then a bigger jewel in the background. You can see it at the Agnya center, or the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. And out of there, from out of the third eye, we can move out of our bodily conditioning. And so the eagle, the serpent becomes an eagle, a winged serpent, and then you see an eagle coming out from there, and in the background there are three eagles. The eagle is a symbol of an initiate who has overcome these bodily limitations, and there you discover also that there are other beings outside these limitations, other initiates, and these initiates you can recognize when you are there on the same level, and this is the blue sphere of the background. In this sphere beyond, you see on the right side the constellation of Scorpio, the stars of the Scorpio constellation, and this central axis is there this ascending energy which can bring you directly from the bottom. Scorpio is linked to the sacral center, and then from there the constellation which is at the bottom, Mula, called in the east, or the beginning of Sagittarius. It is either the fall into deepest matter or the ascent again to the highest. From there you can find a way up directly also to the opposite sign, to Taurus. And Taurus is, as we said before, the will, and the Scorpio is also linked to the will, represented by Mars, the ruler of Scorpio. But here it can be transformed, the personality will, to the higher will, which is linked to Vulcan, as we saw before in Taurus, but this is in the background. So there's this pathway of ascent from the bottom to the top in the central of the image. And the jewel in the top, also on the head, it is a symbol for the jewel in the lotus on the top of our head, in the Sahasrara.
And who else would like to share what they see or add or ask questions? How many symbols?
Lilian?
Thank you. This is extraordinary. I mean, all of them, Ludger, are very beautiful, but this one, I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's like looking at my chart and the Scorpio at the base and Taurus on top. So there's something that really draws me in. The one thing that I see, that's my impression, is almost, in the center where there is the circle. It almost feels to me like the pupil of an eye.
Yes, it is again the center. And from there, the radiance goes beyond. You are in dualities when you see the upper and the lower, but again, you see in the center, the central point of the zodiac, of the construction of the image, what we had in the beginning. And there also, it is the pupil of God, the divine eye, is always again in the center. So this you find often in these pictures. That there's a sphere constructed from the center, as I said, with the very first Aries painting, the different sizes of the circular rings, which you also meet here.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
I've not seen the pupil. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. It's beautiful, Ludger.
It was in the construction of this clock. There was a sphere of the inner clock there, and I just worked it out with the rays around radiating from the central point.
What are the Roman numbers, Ludger?
Yes, these others, these are the 24 hours of the day.
Okay.
Such balance in this painting
Yes.
also. Another balanced painting.
Yes.
Andre?
Has the 8 circles up from the Kundalini some meaning? Why?
No, I took it from the plant spiral. You can take it to link it to the centers, but you need not explain the symbolism. I just found a beautiful, I do not know the English name. It was a spiralic plant, and I just used it to mix two photos to have this double ascent.
I like it very much that what you've done with the spiral, because it reminds me of the vertebra, kind of, and also, like a physical and then energetical reality of our spinal cone. That's one, but the whole composition is very beautiful, and the light that is coming out of this image, especially your white, is absolutely translucent and emanating, and it's very difficult to achieve something like this. So yeah, I enjoy it very much.
This, if you look exactly, it was a photo of an eagle and 7 layers, and each layer I modulated with the colors. So the most radiant is what you see, but there are 7 different layers behind.
That's what it makes it so, the depth of the painting is technically made like that. But what you've achieved with these layers is, there's this beautiful light coming out of it. Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you.
Anna Saints. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Rosa.
Oh, I'm just reading Anna's post. The blue is most striking to me, washing karma in space, like the blue washing us.
Thank you, very beautiful. Yes, you're right. This was the caduceus, and then at the top, the jewel, which is at the top of the caduceus. There's a form like a pine apple, a pine, and which corresponds to our pineal gland. And so it is here from the bottom to the top, and then in the caduceus, the people do not see and understand, but it has often represented a pine at the top.
Pineal gland. Pine
Pine
cone.
cone, yes, pine cone in English.
Pine cone.
I once saw a photo of a beautiful pine cone, which was in the outer gallery of the Vatican. Nobody knows probably what they have put there, but it is the pineal gland there.
Rosa, would you like to read what Laura says?
Sure. The spiral is like the caduceus of Mercury, and Mercury being a spiritual ruler of Scorpio.
Right. Thank you.
And Isabella says, yes, the blue is so special. Well, everyone, I think we are coming to the end of our time together. And so we're going to come to a close and conclude. If there's anything else anybody would like to say, but Ludger is going to lead us in our closing prayer and talk about the next salon.
Yes. We speak now the violet flame invocation, 34. We bow down to the wisdom of the East. We bow down to the love of the South. We bow down to the strength of the West. We bow down to the will of the North. We bow down to the headlight Chintamani above. We bow down to the great guardian dog below. We bow down to the Lord of I Am, the center. May we be raised. May we be raised. May we be raised to the kings of beauty. Frank. Lorraine, can you show the next slide? Our next Aquarian Salon will be Saturday, 27th July, in Leo at the next arm of the fixed cross. Same time again, and you are all most welcome. And you are also most welcome now to stay a little while for free exchange in our after hour. Now the official part ends, and hope to see you again sometime in the future.